All right, we're live right now on the L7C. Live on the YouTube, talking some March Madness. Man, we wanted to do this one live in person. Just got to make sure everything is good for y'all. So please bear with us. Make sure everything is cool on that end. Oh, yeah, we live. We're live.
Perfect.
We are live here. We got CEO of Arrey Academy, Junior Arrey. You see him in the screen right there. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just sending it out, the notification saying that we are online.
Awesome.
Hey, Byron, what's going on, man? Yes, sir. We are live. We are
Oh,
live.
there we go. There he is. B. Mitch.
Let us know if y'all make sure you guys can hear myself and Junior. We haven't done a live one in a bit, so definitely doing this for the March Madness thing. But so what we're gonna do, if you haven't listened to Junior's podcast about what it takes to win in the postseason, all that stuff, make sure you listen to that, so you can get a little thing of like what we're about to talk about. And then today we're gonna talk March Madness, man. That is what we are talking about, as it's already started with the first four in games, but
Yep.
now we got the real tournament starting tomorrow at 12:10. So you can hear both of us. That's what's up. That's what's up. Junior, man, just a little thing before I send this stuff out. What got
Yeah.
you? What do you like most about March Madness?
Oh, because anyone can win. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter who you are. It's just that one game. That one game can change everything for everybody. Because a lot of people are rooting for certain team, but you never know. There's nothing too big. It's like the Cinderella teams. You and I, we live for those type of Cinderella runs. Like last year, was it St. Peter's?
Mm-hmm.
With St. Peter's one year, Cardi had a Kimba that year. I think what was that in 11, I think,
Yeah, that
or
was that was an 11. I'm gonna bring that up too. So
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. I mean, it's I love this time of year. Everyone loves it. Emotions are high.
Hey,
It's
Chuck, what's going on, brother?
there he is, Chuck the Duck.
But yeah, man, you brought up UConn, how they just went on a
Yeah,
tear and they won that. That was all the way back in 2000. That was a while ago, man.
was
They
that
beat
was that 11?
Yeah, nah, it so they beat Connecticut in the championship.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that was way it's so Kimba Walker in 2011, you're right, they won,
yeah.
but then they also won a title in 2014.
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
That's
2011.
what Nate Peter, I think.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And we're gonna talk some March Madness strategies because me and Junior have been in a whole bunch of March Madness pools
Yep.
before. Junior's come really, really close. I was lucky enough to win ours last year, but we're gonna do that. As you see on the screen, this is on the official NCAA site. We're gonna fill
Yep.
out a bracket together for the people in our bracket pool. That doesn't mean this is gonna be my bracket that I'm using in that. It doesn't mean it's gonna be Junior's.
Correct.
This is one we're
Correct.
just gonna brainstorm together and we're gonna submit it. But we're gonna submit it under the name of the L7C. So this bracket is gonna rep the L7C. So if you have some thoughts in the comments, make sure you drop them.
Yeah. Please.
Oh, Chuck said my pick's gone. I don't know. I mean, North Carolina, they were a problem last year because they were an eighth seed and they weren't supposed to amount to
Yeah.
much, and they went all the way to the title game.
Yeah, I had them losing to Baylor, and
That
then
was tough.
they beat Baylor, and that hurt me big time. But every year, I can go back every single year once we started, like who I lost to, what's the reason I lost, what game it was, what
Hmm.
round it was, and all that. It's insane. I love this time of year. Hopefully, I can sneak one this year, or I'll be really angry. But
So when do you typically do your brackets, Junior?
usually I think you and I usually do it the night before,
Hmm.
or yeah, I won't say the night before. Me, and you always hop, you and I, we hop on a call,
Hmm.
and then we just discuss, and then obviously like I don't tell you exactly who to pick, but we always talk about like, okay, if these two are matching up, what are your thoughts? Like, who's are they a senior dominated team? Are they young? Are they immature? how's the coaching? How are they like in crunch moments? Can they make free throws down the stretch? So it's for us personally, we take this to heart. We actually like try to strategize and see who exactly is going to win that next round. That's nothing too, Martin, that we always talk about. Is like for us, I guess for I know from you and I is that we always think like, hey, listen, if your final four teams are in round 1 and 2 and they advance, you have a chance to win. You just got to
Yes.
have your final four teams survive the first 2 rounds. If they can survive the first 2 rounds, your chance of winning in our tournament play, it's significant. It increases significantly.
Yes. 100%. Because the way that we use CBS for the people listening, and the people who
Yeah,
listen after that. So the scoring is impetitive. So that's where it is luck, obviously, because some teams get upset, but there's strategy. Because the
absolutely.
first round, you only get 1 point.
Yep.
You get 1 point. So there's a lot of people you might have missed one upset, and there's some people who do talk trash after they're up on the first day, and
We
then
won't
it's
say
like we won't
names,
say
but
names because that's not what we're on today. But that's 1 point. It's like, okay. So then the second round, you start getting 2 points to win. You're like, all right,
yep,
people are still super close. Sweet
yep.
16, you start getting 4 points.
That's where it starts to get distant.
Yep. And then Elite 8, 8, 8, you get 8 points.
Yep.
So then when you get to the final four, you get 16 points for each one you
Uh
get
huh.
right. So then the
Yep.
national champion is 32. So that's
Yep.
why it's so imperative. You're really sitting there on that first weekend hoping your champion is still alive. Because if your
Absolutely.
champion's still alive, you will be alive in any bracket that you're in CBS because it's
Yep.
32 points.
Yep.
Like that is a game changing thing. You could say someone if someone's up on you by 31 points, but they don't have
Yeah.
anyone in the championship game, but you have your champion, you win that, you win. So that's
You're
why in the
absolutely right.
CBS, man, you really got to pick your champ. You got to be like, all right, if I can just get this team to the championship game, I
Yep.
have a chance. Like that year where Virginia lost,
Yeah.
killed everyone because that was the overall number one seed.
Yes, it was.
So, Junior, what ways do you go into picking your champion? Because for me, I try and think who everyone else is going to pick.
I do that as well. But honestly, it comes down to matchups and who they're playing
Hmm.
against. So I make sure I personally start to lock in and tune in on the big time teams
Hmm.
around end of February to see who's clicking at the moment.
Hmm.
That definitely indicates a lot because they have momentum on their side. And
Hmm.
also, what people don't really realize that plays a big role is where they're playing.
Hmm.
If they're gonna have a close home base, are they gonna be far away? How do they play on the road? All that takes into consideration when you're picking teams, and people
Hmm.
don't realize that. And it's mind blowing and fascinating how just those little fine little details can either make someone keep winning or they go home because you know your typical saying now is once you get that one loss, you're out.
Yeah, there's no there's no other chances now. Like if you lose once, you're out. Byron just said
Yeah.
he that's another year because that killed me, Byron. We had the same champ when Illinois lost in the second day. I was done.
Yes. What year was that? I'm trying to think. Was that 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
That was the year.
Because they were loaded that year. That's when they had that big boy.
Yeah, they were number one. They were number one. They were
I
number
want to say
one
that's
seed. It was either
yeah.
2019 when Virginia won the title, or if it was
Mm,
2 years ago, it was the year Baylor won. Because that one, Baylor beat Gonzaga in the championship.
don't remind me,
And I
dude.
know
Mm,
and I know Gonzaga. They get you really, really
yeah,
far, and then it gets to that
yeah.
title game where you've
They
lost
shit the bed. Yeah,
you
several times.
you've lost several times because of that. Because I mean, you lost to actually he's in there
I,
Chuck
I,
twice because of that. Because you've had Gonzaga in the
yep,
championship, and then
yep.
they lose. They lost to North Carolina in
Yeah, that was the very
2017.
first. Yeah, that was the very first year I think we did it. Was
Yeah,
2017. Yeah,
and then they lost to Baylor in 2021. It's tough, man.
yeah. It's hard. And then when I had Tennessee, I want to say I don't know if that was in 2018 when I got they're gonna do things, they lose to. I think that year you might have won it because I think you picked Villanova in 18. I want to
No,
say.
I didn't. I the first time I ever won was last year. It was Cedric. It's been Cedric and Chuck.
Okay, what year was it that Villanova won?
Villanova won, and they've won two, and they won in 2016 against North Carolina.
Yeah,
That's when they hit the game winning shot, and then they lost in
freshman year.
2018. They won in 2018 to Michigan.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, because
I
Michigan.
could have sworn you picked Villanova, but
No,
okay.
I've never picked. I pick them to go far, but I never pick them to win.
Yeah.
But nah,
Fair,
just
but
I'm gonna throw some stats at you real quick, since you are a stats man. So
yeah,
since 2014, we talked about that
Yep.
UConn team was a 7th seed
Yes.
and won the tournament against the 8th seed.
Yes.
In the past 20 years, that has been the highest ranked seed to win a title.
That's insane.
Like besides them, you're no lower than 3 winning the title in the whole 2000s to 2023 for people filling out your brackets. And then obviously number 1 seeds have only lost once to a 16 seed, and that was Virginia.
I'll say you know who that is.
Yeah, so don't go too crazy. Like advice for that, don't think a number 1 seed is gonna lose to a 16 seed. Like I'm just being honest. They're 147-1. Like if you want to look at upsets, you always want to look at like that.
I think honestly, at the 5 and 12,
Yup.
the 8 and 9,
Yup.
which one do you think? Because those are the main ones that
Those-
you have is the 5 and 12 and the 8 and 9.
Those are the main ones because 8 versus 9 in history, 8s have 72 wins, 9s have 76.
So that's hard.
And then
Like,
5 and 11, 5 has majority. They have 95, but they have 53 losses too. Like once you start getting lower like that, it starts.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But then when you're
Absolutely.
trying to be strategic, you're either trying to get as much points as possible or you're trying to get your champion, you have to take a chance of picking upset.
It's a must. It's a must because you never know who's going to be on that night. That's the thing. You never know who's going to be feeling it. It could be your night. You never know.
Oh, Byron said that Illinois thing was 2 years ago because he didn't play last year. He had to take a break.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, because we didn't have a champion in 2020 because that's when COVID hit.
You're right. You are right.
But so we're gonna do this live one for you guys and keep talking some March Madness. But Junior, how many teams do you actually think can win the tournament?
This year is wide open. It's wide open. It just depends on who shows up, who settles into the tournament first. Because it's March Madness. Everyone has those jitters going. I personally think whoever settles in and controls the pace, controls the tempo will win the game. And obviously, make the right plays, make your free throws during crunch time, execute down the stretch. People don't realize, Biggie, when it comes to second half, you have to run your stuff.
Yes.
You have to run your stuff. You have to milk some clock and be efficient. And also, you gotta get stops.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't get stops, that's all right. Well, since we're talking about that, that's one thing I'm gonna talk about once you get to the Virginia section. Is like Virginia is outstanding when it comes to defense.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding. But where they're gonna lack at, they have no offensive threat. Who's their go-to scorer?
Mm-hmm.
There's no one. K.A. Clark, don't get me wrong, he's a phenomenal guard. He does his thing. He's been there for a while, so he's seasoned. But I'm not going to him down the stretch.
Right.
You know, that's where Virginia lacks. Because when the year they won, they had Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome. They had go-to scorers when they won that year. But this year, I mean, it's going to be hard for Virginia, in my opinion.
And they won that game in overtime, and it's crazy to think that Virginia is a team that scored 85 points in a game.
Yeah, absolutely. That season too. I'm so sorry for cutting you off. That tournament. What seed was Texas Tech?
Texas Tech was a 3 seed.
Virginia.
They were 3 seed.
3 seed.
So they weren't a low, like they weren't a high, but they weren't on anyone's radar to make it to the championship because that Final Four 2019 was crazy. It was Virginia, Texas Tech, Auburn at a 5 seed, and Michigan State in 2019, which I was gonna bring up. Coaches, like, how much do coaches play a factor in it? Because I brought up Michigan State. Everyone knows the saying: when it gets to March,
Yep.
Sometimes Izzo does some things you do not expect.
Yep. Absolutely. He knows what to do. He's been there several times. He's a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
It's now it just depends. Can he put those horses? Can he push those horses? Can
Yeah,
he push those players to actually say, "Hey, this is time to shine"? It's either get right or get left.
right,
Simple.
right. How much do you put conferences into play? Because do you look at
Oh, I
it
mean,
like, all right, this people they were playing like the Big
absolutely,
12. Big 12 was the best conference this year in college
hands down.
basketball.
It's not even debatable.
Yeah, so do you put like, all right, so these people are beating each other up. They might be a little worn out going to this tournament, or they've been in so many wars, anyone else isn't
They're
going to be ready for that.
they're mentally tough, and that's the issue Gonzaga had. Baylor abused them.
Yes.
Baylor
Yes.
just abused them because Gonzaga and those people out there on the West Coast, they play fast pace, up and down. Get out and go. Then when it comes to Baylor, Big 12, they're physical. They get after it. They're gonna push you around, and that's why Gonzaga lost because they were not mentally and physically tough.
Yeah, because that one, Baylor beat Gonzaga 86-70, and they were saying there's like, hey man,
Yeah,
we were working out with the football. We work out with the football team,
that's
like,
true, and it showed. It showed.
but that year too, that's where a certain team that we're gonna get to when we start doing this bracket. That's where they really came on the map in 2021. Houston is a 2 seed making it to the Final Four, and UCLA is an 11 seed making it to the
Yep.
Final Four, which they have started to ascend back to some providence. Like they were an extremely good
Yep.
team this
Yep.
year as well. Unfortunately, was hit with an injury, and and obviously Houston was hit with an injury as well.
Yeah.
Because I bring up conference because Byron talked about that year 2 years ago. Big
Yep.
Ten was the best college basketball conference that year. They had so
But
many
remember now,
teams.
Martin, it's Big Ten. They
Hey,
don't do good. They do not do well in the postseason. You know that.
as collectively as a group, they do not, especially even this year, they tied for the most teams in the tournament, which I was surprised by. But collectively, no. But there have been teams that have made it far.
A run, yes,
Michigan was in the title game just in
yes,
2018. Michigan was in the title game in 2013. That's when
yeah.
they had
Trey Burke.
That's when they had Trey Burke, but I'm trying to remember the coach.
Oh, Beeline, John
Beeline, because
Beeline,
Beeline was getting them to the Final Fours.
a phenomenal coach.
And
I
then
wish he would have stayed at Michigan.
Yeah, that going to the Cavs thing, that was a terrible move for him. But
Yeah.
you've had Michigan State, who's made it to the Final Fours of championships. Michigan's made it to the Final Fours and championships. Wisconsin made it back in 2015.
Ooh, Wisconsin. Oh my God.
If you
bro.
remember them, one
had
that got
them
me
beat
good points.
Kentucky.
Yep, I had him too. Frank
Yeah.
Kaminsky, Frank the Tank.
Yep.
That
Yep.
was
Nigel
something.
Hayes, all them
Nigel
boys,
Hayes, but with the Big Ten, especially with the tournament thing, the Big Ten hasn't had a champion since 2000.
That's wow.
Do you want to guess who the champion was?
In 2000, Big Ten. Let's see here. I'm gonna go with Michigan State.
Yep. Michigan State was a #1 seed. They beat the 5 seed Florida. Because remember, the mid 2000s is when Florida was starting to really ascend.
Powerful.
And then that Final Four, North Carolina, 8th seed, Wisconsin, an 8th seed. You had 2 Big Ten teams in the Final Four in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have the things like, obviously, Florida, because this is the thing with Kansas, Florida's the last team to win 2 back-to-back titles.
Oh wait, in 06 and 07.
Correct. 06, they beat UCLA. Listen to this.
Yep.
Listen to this Final Four. It was Florida, UCLA, #4 LSU, so 2 SEC teams, and #11. That was George Mason's year.
Oh, they did have a run. They did have a run.
That was them. And 2007, Florida beat Ohio State, and the #2 seed was UCLA and Georgetown. That was one I remember doing that bracket vividly because I had all the Elite Eight right. I was going, but it came down to the champion, and I lost because I picked Ohio State.
Yep.
And the poll at school people picked Florida, and that was it.
Yeah.
So all your hard work, you're like, man, I picked all these people right just to lose in the title game. It hurts.
That hurts. Oh, it hurts. It hurts.
And then Junior, we talked about we've watched the mid majors too. Mid majors can go on a run. Butler went to the title game 2 years in a row. They went in 2010 and 11.
10 11.
Because 09 was North Carolina, Michigan State.
Yes.
So it's like So what mid majors do you like? What do you look for in the mid majors when you're picking?
The ones that aren't scared to they have nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
They're just out there having fun playing, and then once they see that ball go in the basket,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, the confidence shoots out the roof. I love mid majors. They're definitely sleepers, and people need to realize you got to pick some mid majors to go far in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
They're fun to watch.
recently, Ohio had like OU
Yeah.
had
Yep.
a good run. It was crazy because it's like all these teams in Ohio were in it, but it was OU who was making a run. Or even think
Yep.
about 2018, Loyola Chicago made it to the Final Four as an 11 seed. These things are possible. They're not likely, but they are
Yeah.
very. You just
Comes down to matchups.
It really does. It comes down to matchups. It comes down to if you've seen this style of play before, coaching.
Yep.
And
Yep.
me, when I'm watching a game and the underdog, if they start the game making, like, let's just say 6 out of their first 12 threes, I'm like, oh, the higher seed's in trouble.
Yeah.
There's
they're
nothing.
gonna
If the threes are going for the underdog, it's a wrap.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because it's like,
Absolutely.
especially teams, if you haven't been there before, that's why we talked about on that last podcast about have you been in the trenches before? If all your games are blowouts, I can't pick you to win the tournament. Because once you get in a
It's not
close
gonna
one,
look.
it's over.
Yep. You're damn right.
What do you do in the 2 minute situation? What do you do in the 1 minute, like we talked about in your last thing, because people aren't really hip to that? What do you do when it's 1 minute when you only get 3 possessions? If you have the
Yeah.
ball, you're getting 3 possessions. You're going to shoot. Your opponent's going to shoot. You might get another chance. Game's over. If you're on
If that.
defense, you might only
Yep.
get 1 possession. So
Yeah.
what do you do in those situations? And that's when I start watching all these close games and whatnot. But Junior, man, let's get right. Let's get into it, man. What do you want to start
Let's
off
do
with?
it. Let's go I'm a big fan of the West region. Let's do the West region.
This okay.
Yeah, I
No-
like the West region. a
Number
lot.
1 seed, Kansas. That was the squad I
Yep.
rocked with last year against Howard. Shout out to HBCU.
Facts.
I mean, we're gotta go Kansas here. They're the returning
Yeah,
champs. They got a
Kansas.
lot of players back. I will say that Big 12 championship game last week that people weren't hip. Obviously, they got shellacked by Texas.
Oh my! Hey, please be on the lookout for Texas this year.
But
Jabari Rice, all them. Texas is on the come up. Just watch.
I'm surprised on how well they played because I'm going to tell you 2 months ago when they had their head coach before he got dismissed because of the alleged assault, I would have picked them to win the title. But Kansas didn't have Bill Self coaching. He didn't coach. He was in the hospital. He's back now.
Yes.
All right.
So we'll see.
We'll see. We got then Arkansas, Illinois.
I'm gonna go with Arkansas.
I am as well. Illinois has not been impressive to me because of the region that I live in. I watch Big Ten basketball almost night and day,
Yeah.
but they just haven't been. They've underachieved. They've truly underachieved.
They are young.
We got St. Mary's, who I always like St. Mary's against
I
VCU.
love 'em.
Shout out to
love 'em.
VCU. We had a brother of ours from our neighborhood, Rob Brandenburg, who played on that
Shout out to
Final
Rob.
Four seed, who still does
Shout out to
stuff in that
Rob.
community. So shout out to our neighborhood brother Rob Brandenburg from VCU. Who are you liking in this?
Oh, I'm a huge Randy Bennett fan.
Okay.
So I'm going St. Mary's all the way. They know how to play. They know how to shoot the ball. They know how to handle pressure. I'm going St. Mary's. And I was Randy Bennett. He is a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He knows what to do in this time of the year. I'm going Randy Bennett.
I think the way VCU used to play, Shaka Smart full court press, that would get people.
Yeah.
It's not the same anymore. It's not the same player. So I agree. I think St. Mary's would go, if I do remember correctly, St. Mary's and Kentucky, all these past 10 years, always battled in the tournament.
Yeah.
So, UConn and Iona, I'm going to be honest. UConn, there was a time they were number 2 in the country, but they have slipped a lot.
off.
They're lucky they got this 4 seed.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
don't-
remember who Iona's head coach is now?
Ain't that one of your boys?
That's Patino.
That's Ricky
So,
P. And he's cool against the Big 12. I think we got to pick our first upset here.
let's do it.
We got Iona there. Rick Pitino. He's obviously coaching for his team to stay. He's coaching to get that big contract to come back to the big majors.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Rick Pitino, he just got the contract for St. John's job.
And hey,
So,
going back to roots.
yep.
Going back to
So, but
roots.
that's the thing though. Is he gonna be focused on this and on tournament, or is he
That's a good question.
Or is he just gonna be worried about, hey, let's get the season over so I can go to St. John's, start new, get my feet wet back in the Big East?
That's a real good question because that thing with coaches where it's like when you hear they're getting a new job, that's players like, so are you really focused in, or are you not focused in?
Yep.
So where you feeling like Rick's not? You feel like UConn can do this, or are you still gonna go with Iona here?
I'll go with Dan Hurley. I'm going with UConn.
Okay. TCU, they would be playing.
TCU.
You don't even care.
TCU.
TCU is a sleeper. They're a sleeper.
Yeah. Big fan of Dixon, what he's doing over there. Jamie Dixon, he's doing a really good job over there.
You got Gonzaga and Grand Canyon here. This is the first time in probably 5 years Gonzaga is under the radar, which I like. I like them under the radar.
Yeah, I'll go with the Zags because they have a special heart, special place in my heart for me. So
this is a team that surprised a lot of people in the Big Ten. Northwestern going against Boise State. Northwestern was the second best team in the Big Ten from the Big Ten seeding wise, which was crazy. So shout out to them. You got Boise State. This is a 7-10 matchup. Who are you liking?
That's another one. 7 and 10 can go either way.
Mm-hmm. Who are you liking here?
I know Boise has some players. Where's the game located?
Ooh, that is a good question. Let me see if I can get you that while you're thinking. Down here, you got UCLA winning this one?
Yeah, UCLA, absolutely. Okay. I will go with 7 and 10. I don't know, Mario. I'm about to pass one on to you because I know you're a Big Ten guy, but what are your thoughts?
Northwestern has really surprised people. They really have.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay, I don't see why not.
I'm looking at. I got
either way. Whoever's playing.
Oh no!
They're out.
Yeah, they're out anyway, so you're losing point. But I'm gonna go Northwestern here. I know what 7. I know what 10. I know what 10 I'm gonna pick. Do you want to finish this region, or do you want to keep, or do you want to hop around?
Let's go to the next region. Let's do it. Let's go to South or whatever doesn't matter.
Let's go to the South. The number 1 overall seed in the tournament, Alabama. I'm gonna say this too. They won that number 1 seed on Sunday. That's why conference championships matter. Houston was going to be the number 1 overall seed until Memphis put it to them. So Alabama won it. Alabama's clicking at the right time, man. I can make the case. They got the best player in the country right now as a freshman, Brandon Miller. Yeah. So I mean, You think Northwestern's winning, Byron? Okay, we sticking with it. But 8-9, man. This is basically your school, Maryland, West Virginia.
Oh, Hug. You know what's crazy? I had West Virginia actually making a run this year, so I'm going to go with Huggy Bear.
Yeah, I think Maryland's going to fizzle out. They're too inconsistent offensively. You got San Diego State versus Charleston.
See, now this one's hard. This one's going to be hard. This one's hard. I'm going with Charleston.
Okay. Now, the team. Virginia versus Foreman. I'm gonna be honest. I think I'm going Furman. I'm going Furman.
Yep.
If Virginia doesn't score early, they can't win.
Nope.
They have to score early because once Virginia's ahead, they're almost impossible to beat because their defense is so stifling. But when they're behind, it's almost like the NFL team where if they run the ball and they get up on you a couple of touchdowns, you can't catch them. But if they have to pass, it's a wrap. This one's tricky. Creighton, North Carolina State. I do like Creighton. McDermott's dad, is he still the coach?
He is still the coach. Great guy. He's a Hall of Famer too.
I think I'm gonna go Creighton.
Let's do it.
Them boys, Baylor. And UCSB, I think Baylor's just going to bully the hell out of them.
Yeah, Baylor's too physical.
Missouri, under the radar. Utah State.
I'm taking Utah State.
Taking Utah State? Okay. And this, I'm tempted. Because Arizona
sucks, dude.
Arizona are frauds. But Princeton hasn't played anyone like them.
Yeah. So I'll have Arizona win this game, but I don't have Arizona going far this year.
Okay. All right.
They don't really have anybody.
All right. So which one we want to go to next?
Surprise me. Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's go Houston. You were the first one who really put Houston on the map.
I try to tell people.
So obviously this one is tough.
Honestly, you can jump Houston over to the Final Four for me.
We're gonna have to see. I don't know. Iowa and Auburn. Auburn made that magical run when no one expected it to the Final Four. Iowa can score, but their defense is horrendous.
Auburn.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest. I think Miami's frauds. They're going against Drake. I just think watching
Miami's too tough.
But they're frauds, man. You think
they are?
You think you have
tougher
something?
Than Drake.
They're tougher than Drake.
They're gonna bully Drake.
Because they'll be, well, it depends on. This is tricky. Indiana has an All-American. If you haven't watched Indiana play, they can hoop. Indiana's 2-0 against a number 1 seed down there in Purdue.
Yep.
Kent State, mid-major. Someone's going to get got. Is it Indiana? Obviously, former NBA coach Mike Woodson is coaching Indiana. You think he's going to have them boys up? Correct. Indiana's a trendy pick. I see a lot of talking heads on ESPN having them in the Final Four. I don't see that right now.
I don't.
Maybe I'll see that at like 2 a.m. when I'm looking at my bracket, but...
Absolutely. We'll go Indiana. Why not?
Pittsburgh, who just won their way in yesterday... Yep. Going against Iowa State. Iowa State?
I like Iowa State. But the thing is, though, they only have one score, so someone better step it up or they're screwed. Xavier, all the way.
I didn't even get me to Ken Shaw.
I love Coach Steele, what he's doing over there. Xavier's has some dogs.
This is going to be tough.
Oh, God.
Penn State has a hooper.
They
All-American. Put everyone on the map. And Penn State's one of those teams, they do not care. Those threes are going. And if they're making those threes, it's a wrap.
I'll take Penn State.
Taking Penn State? All right. And then Texas.
Yeah.
Texas. Purdue.
Yep.
I am intrigued to see how these referees are going to officiate Zach Edey. He's not in the Big Ten anymore, so these refs aren't familiar with him. Are they going to call every elbow he throws? Because he does throw elbows. Are they going to call the 3 seconds? That's going to be interesting.
Absolutely, I agree.
Memphis, man. Remember,
Memphis.
They always had hype, but they haven't lived up to it. Duke versus Oral Roberts. As someone,
Ohio State knows them.
We know them very well. That's why when you're doing these things, you got to see who the leading scorers in the nation are. Because Oral Roberts had 2 people, and Ohio State was the number 2 seed. They had 2 people, and Oral Roberts put up 30 balls. 30, scoring 20 in college is something. 30 balls? But Duke right now, one of the hottest teams in the country.
Yeah, they're playing well.
I'm tempted here. The only reason I'm tempted is because Tennessee is injury prone right now. Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, they have gotten people in the past.
Yeah,
I think Tennessee is just a little bit more talented than them right now. It doesn't matter because the winner of this, they're going home to Duke anyway. But I would go Tennessee. But if you're trying to sneak some points in your bracket, look at that one. Just saying. It's weird. Because we talked about Gonzaga under the radar. Kentucky is under the radar. They have not been the Kentucky people have thought. So Providence.
I'm going Coach Ed Cooley.
We're going Providence?
I'm going Providence. Coach Ed Cooley.
I don't disagree. They can do it.
Yeah.
Now, if Calipari gets some boys on a run,
That's true. That's scary.
Montana State versus Kansas State. Kansas State's a sleeper.
I love Kansas
I
State.
hate calling 3 seeds a sleeper, but they're not getting talked about enough.
Yeah, they aren't getting that much love.
And this region, I forgot to say, this is in Columbus, Ohio. This is at the Schottenstein Center. So just bringing it up because Michigan State versus USC, this is tough. Michigan State, they know what it's like to play Ohio State. And then USC, Nationwide. They're closer to home, so they're going to have definitely more fans there. But it's USC playing to impress the James family so that Bronny goes there since that's one of his final 3 schools.
That's true.
That could be extra incentive.
Yeah, we'll say. We'll find out.
I'm
gonna go. I'm going. You know what? No, I don't like. I'll go USC.
USC over Tom.
Yep.
Cool. That's going to be hell. I mean, they're going against Tom Izzo, and they're basically going to go against a home crowd. Then Marquette. If you have it, Marquette, Shaka Smart, they are going right now.
Yeah, they're playing really well.
All right. So now let's go back to where we started with Kansas.
Let's do it.
Kansas and Arkansas. I think Kansas.
Now this is the issue because Arkansas matches up really well with Kansas, and I don't think Kansas does not do well with athletic, strong, and tough teams. Like for example, they didn't do well against Kansas State. Kansas State's physical; they get after it. Same concept with TCU and Texas. If they get in your shit and they make you feel uncomfortable, Kansas is gonna shit the bed. I personally think Arkansas might win the game, but Bill Self, Hall of Famer, Jalen Wilson, I'll go with Kansas. But that's going to be a really hard-fought game.
I would say with Kansas, too, there's a good amount of players who were on that championship team last year. So they're going to, and the coach, they're going to know, because there's going to be times, that's also, and there are going to be times they're going to be down 10. These higher seeds are going to be down. You're going to be already ready to cash out your stuff, but they fight. So,
yeah, they do.
And I also think Kansas being in the Big 12, a tougher conference that have improved them for these ringers, because these are some of the same issues with Kansas last year. They had some losses you didn't expect, and then you got in the tournament. They were able to win the close games. That's what matters.
Yep.
UConn versus St. Mary's. I gotta go St. Mary's.
St. Mary's.
TCU and Gonzaga. Both teams are under the radar.
I'm going to go with, because Drew Timmy's still there.
Yes, he is.
I'm going to go with Gonzaga.
Northwestern, UCLA.
UCLA.
All right. Northwestern will give them a game. Don't be surprised. Do not be surprised.
Yes.
Alabama, West Virginia, I think that's easy money. West Virginia can't beat them. They can't. Unless the press is really getting to them.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to guard Brandon.
That's the thing.
Brandon Miller.
We got this 12-13 over here. Charleston versus Fordham. Who we got?
Charleston.
Okay. I mean, they're going home to Alabama, but we got
regardless, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, there's always going to be one higher seed just randomly in the Sweet 16. You just got to get lucky and pick the right one. Creighton and Baylor.
Oh, God. Baylor. Yeah, I'm going to go Baylor.
Utah State and Arizona.
Arizona.
They're going home soon. I'm almost I almost thought about taking them out there because they underperform.
Yeah. Yep. I called it out last year when they were 1 seed and my dogs Houston was a 4 or 5 seed.
Bullied them.
And I tried to tell everyone in our group message, listen, Houston's gonna win. Houston is too tough. They're physical. No one believed me besides Martin, and boom, Houston won.
Yeah, I was sitting there. It got to a point too when we were in a situation where, it was close. It was close. Like, you had Houston going.
I had Houston beating Villanova, but Villanova won. And that's what took me
because
out.
you were just like, so what do I need to win? I was like, well, if Houston wins, because that's funny. Once we get past the weekend, Junior's like, all right, so what do I need to win? And he's hitting me up, asking. I'm like, well, you need this person to lose here. I mean, this person this. So you two have the same champ. So then you got to look for the games that you don't have the same, and that's what's going to decide it.
And that messed me up right there.
So where are we? All right. So speaking of Houston, Houston is destroying Auburn. That's
Yep. Yeah.
my Indiana has the better overall player in this game. They have the best player in the game in
Who are they
this
playing
game.
against?
Miami.
Indiana. They're more disciplined.
Iowa State Xavier.
Which Xavier.
This is tough because again, Penn State could send Texas home. If those threes are falling, it's over. It is over. Penn State will send Texas home. Texas ain't playing no team that just jack them up like Penn State does.
Yeah, they just launch those. They don't even shoot. They just launch them.
And they don't care. And they
do
can
not.
shoot 500. 20 of them are going in. That's 60 points.
Yeah. I believe in Jabari Rice, probably the sixth man of the year. I don't know if he won it or not, but he's phenomenal off the bench. I'm going Texas.
Okay. Do not be surprised.
Really well. They are playing well.
They are. They're on a tear too. Penn State they were getting smoked in the Big Ten championship game. You blinked, they were only down 1 point with 2 possessions.
Yep.
They do not
He
quit.
traveled. He traveled at the last seconds.
Yeah. They do not quit. They do not quit.
No, they don't.
Purdue might be going home.
Where we talk. All right, let's hear it.
Purdue. When we talk about teams that are fraudulent in this tournament,
Memphis is too physical for Purdue.
It's one of those things where Purdue, Arizona, I always stay away from them from going far because they always let you down. Purdue couldn't win it when they had freaking Ivy, who was an NBA prospect. They couldn't win it years ago when I messed with Carson Edwards, who was basically Steph Curry of college of that year. And now they got Zach Edey. They got an experienced team. But some of these players were on those previous teams. And Matt Painter, put this in perspective, Matt Painter only has like 2 Big Ten championships on the tournament.
Yeah, I don't know how dude still.
They always underperform. The years, shout out to Justin, Etuan Moore, those years, they always underperform.
Etuan Moore, Robbie Hummel, all them boys.
Robbie Hummel, who calls the Big Ten games now.
Yeah.
They always underperform. I would give the slide. I think they're more disciplined than Memphis, though.
Oh God, Memphis. There's just a bunch of boys just ready to play. I'll go Purdue.
Duke, Tennessee. If Tennessee was fully healthy, I'd pick Tennessee, but I think Duke.
I'll go Duke.
Duke.
I mean, it's just Duke. You know what I mean?
And I just spot. That's a whole other story. That's from the NCAA video game days.
Yeah, that's true.
We got Providence and Kansas State. You still liking K-State? Providence?
I love Coach Cooley so much. I'm gonna go Kansas State because they have something to prove. They're hungry this year. They have that new coach.
Mm-hmm.
He was on Baylor's staff when they won the championship, so he knows a little something about winning. So I'm gonna go Kansas State.
Okay, and then I Marquette.
Yes.
Oh shit. Oh, yeah, Marquette. Man, we're in the elite. Are we in the Sweet 16? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, Sweet 16.
Let's do it.
Kansas St. Mary's.
Kansas and St. Mary's, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Randy Bennett, but I'll go Kansas.
Okay. Gonzaga, UCI. Gonzaga's going home. They're going home.
Oh, man.
They're going home. Houston, Indiana. I can make the case Indiana still has the best player overall on the court.
Yeah, but it's Houston. It's their year. They're too big. First of all, they're too tough.
Calvin Sampson
is a phenomenal coach.
He is, but last time I saw him, Memphis was getting in him.
That's true. And that's why Memphis on the whole other side of the bracket for a reason. Because I think personally Houston's going to win it all. It's their year to do it. If they get to the Final Four, they're in Houston. They're going to bring that crowd. They're going to make some noise. But the thing is, can they make shots? That's their issue. They do not know how to shoot the ball well. But Marcus Sasser, first-team All-American, I think he's going to lead them this year. So I'm going with Houston.
Okay, it's gonna be a close one.
That's going to be a dogfight.
I think Texas gets them here.
Who's this one?
Xavier.
Yeah.
Bama.
Yeah.
And it's time for Arizona to go home. It's time.
Who they playing?
Baylor. It's time. They gotta go.
Yeah.
They gotta
Yeah,
go.
Baylor's too physical.
I don't even think Arizona's gonna make it that. All right, Purdue and Duke. Duke got some big boys. They're playing hot. Purdue. This is where they always die. I don't think anything changes. I think Duke
They have a
wins.
curse. They have a curse. Purdue has a curse in the Sweet 16. They don't go that far.
I don't think until Purdue wins a title, I will never pick Purdue to get close to a title.
Absolutely. You never know with Purdue. I wish Rutgers was in this tournament. I would have picked them to go so far.
First of all, speaking on that, it's an absolute freaking crime Rutgers got snubbed. That's embarrassing.
That was embarrassing.
That's embarrassing.
I feel for that.
Out of all the Big
horrible.
Ten teams, Rutgers didn't get in. When those boys, they play defense over
beat
there.
Purdue.
Yes, they did.
Number one, I don't know. But
Kansas State and Marquette. This is I see this going either way.
I'm going Kansas State. Kansas State is a more senior dominant team. I'm going Kansas State.
You like Kansas State's coaching over Marquette?
Yes, they're more physical. They're senior. I think they're a more experienced team. They have more seniors on their team. But then you don't get me wrong. Shaka's a dog. They don't do, but I think they're young. I think Marquette's young.
Bama versus Baylor.
Baylor. Scott Drew knows what he's doing. I'm picking Baylor.
You think they could guard Brandon?
Yes. I believe in Scott. Scott Drew is a great coach.
Man, but Bama put the world on notice these past couple tournaments.
If you think Nate Oates is going to do a good job during this crunch time, let's pick Bama.
I'm trying to. One of these number one seeds will not make the final. Well, never mind, because that. Baylor back in the Final Four. It's because I feel
they can shoot the ball. They have the bigs. I don't know. I think one of the bigs is injured. I don't know if he's back yet. They know how to play. Scott Drew, a veteran Hall of Famer.
Man, you're going against your football school.
I am.
Hey, fuck it. Let's do it. Baylor in there. I think Duke beats Kansas State.
Oh.
Duke is Kansas State hot. Duke is on a nuclear level right now.
All right, let's see. I mean, they do have their point guard back, and that helps a lot. So, yeah.
We got a 5 versus a 3 right here. So mixing up. This is tough for me, man, because Kansas really won me this bracket last year, man. I was the only me and Patrick got second place. We were the only people riding with them. Like,
Yeah.
I think UCLA beats them.
I'm trying to think. I can't lie. Mick Cronin has done a phenomenal job at UCLA.
I think they beat them.
He's also going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm going Mick Cronin.
And it hurts, man, because
it's hard to repeat.
It's almost impossible. Florida's the last team to do it. This might be the game of the whole tournament. Houston versus Texas.
That game's going to be crazy. I'm going Houston.
Oh boy!
I'm going Houston.
Oh man!
It's Houston's year. I know it.
But they're not healthy. Texas is. They are. Oh man!
Why isn't Houston healthy?
I thought one of their players got hurt. Or is he back?
Not.
Yep, Patrick, you're all right. Duke got. They screwed Purdue over because they only ranked Duke a 5 seed because of their regular season struggles. But the end of the year, if you look at Duke won the ACC tournament and they were undefeated at home. Like they got them boys coached. They got them playing. This matchup right here. This matchup still, man. This Houston, you got the battle of Tech. Like, man.
Yeah, Texas. Yeah, I'm going Houston. It's Houston's year.
Man, they flipped. You got Baylor versus Duke, Final Four. I think Baylor. You got Baylor?
Baylor.
So you got, and then we have Houston versus UCLA.
Going back to Texas. In Texas.
We're going to have another Texas matchup?
We're going in Texas. Let's go.
Then you got the championship game.
And you know who I'm rooting for. Let's go Cougars.
Well, Houston's better than Baylor. Houston has to dodge some things because they're going to be playing some people if this stays.
Oh, they're gonna go through hell. Yeah.
Like they might. That's why that overall number one seed is tough, because if they would have won their game against Memphis, they would have been over here, and they would have been playing these teams over here. Indiana could sneakily get them. I don't know what Bruce Pearl is going to be on for people who don't know. Tennessee basketball with Chris Lofton and Bruce Pearl, that was like my favorite like college basketball almost era, and he obviously is taking them to a Final Four. And then you said
I'm going Cougs all the way.
What would you put as a final score?
I'll go 85-72. Let's go, Cougs. Let's go.
Okay. You ready to submit it?
Yeah.
All right. That bracket's representing L7C on the NCAA site. You know,
Yep.
before we close off,
Yeah.
let's run a women's one real quick.
I'm here.
All right. First of all, let's just really not beat around the bush. South Carolina's going all the way. South Carolina's winning. Let's just call it what it is. That's over.
Sure.
Now it's just about who's gonna play them. Because no one stands a chance. Absolutely nobody. All right, so we got UCF, Marquette, Oklahoma, and Portland. No, they're not beating Oklahoma. Hell no.
Yeah.
UCLA,
Yeah.
Creighton, and
Old Miss,
Mississippi State,
Mississippi State,
Notre Dame, and South Utah,
Notre Dame.
Arizona, and West Virginia.
I'll go West V.
And Maryland's beating.
And then Maryland's gonna beat them as well.
Yeah, Maryland's gonna beat them, and then Notre Dame's gonna beat Mississippi State.
Yeah, then Maryland.
Yeah, then that's curtains. Who you got? Oklahoma, UCLA.
Oklahoma, UCLA. UCLA.
Let me find. All right, let's go down here to your side that you're gonna like, because you said you. I don't know. Well, Stanford's beating them. This is easy money.
Yeah.
Louisville's beating Drake. Texas is beating them. Mississippi State and Gonzaga.
Mississippi State.
Colorado. Who the fuck is that? Wow. You want to talk about some sexist stuff? They don't even give you the info thing on the women's thing.
Jesus.
Duke's beating Iona.
Yeah.
For your people, Iowa.
Hey, put them at least in the Elite Eight. Just keep bouncing everybody until they play Stanford.
So you got them beating Duke.
Yeah.
Louisville's beating Texas.
Yeah.
They're hard. Louisville women are hard. I think Stanford, but I think honestly Louisville could beat. I think Louisville could beat anyone in here. That's why I told you this is tough.
Yeah, they're good. Louisville's good.
And Iowa and Stanford. Whoever wins this just has the right to get smacked by South Carolina.
Pretty much. So I'm gonna go Stanford because Caitlin Clark, she did her thing, but she's gonna be tired, and she doesn't have the horses to push her that far. Stanford's gonna beat them.
I think anyone who could guard the damn pick and roll can beat Iowa.
Well, true. That's the thing is though, Caitlin Clark, she's so versatile. Like it's gonna be hard.
It is hard, but once you start getting it, like obviously because the Big Ten Women's Conference was legit, but when you start playing these other people, Stanford, and I wouldn't want any, and I really like Caitlin Clark too, but I would want her to stay clear away from Aaliyah Boston because they would put her in Iowa in blenders.
Facts.
Virginia Tech, number 1 seed over here, repping the women. They're gonna beat them. USC, man, we gotta get an upset. Right? Let's get Toledo over Iowa State.
Why not?
Tennessee girls, they're hard. These teams are hard.
They are good.
North Carolina, Ohio State's gonna beat them. I do want to say for people who don't know with the women's tournament, which I kind of wish they did with the men, if you're a top 4 seed, you get to host 2 games at your house for the tournament.
Which is really cool. That's really cool.
So if you win, Byron, Caitlin Clark is special. Aaliyah Boston's the best player in the country.
There's just it's not.
She's the best player in the country. It's not even up for debate.
Don't get me wrong, they're both consensus first team All Americans.
Oh,
So
100%.
congratulations
But
to them. But
there's one lady who doesn't make it like these far, like Caitlin Clark, and Aaliyah Boston's coming in here who hasn't lost a game since last year.
like, make it make sense.
Until someone beats them, they are 32-0. And they have the best coach in the country right now.
She is phenomenal.
Dancing, like, she's taken over. It is her era. If you look at women's basketball, you had Summits. Yeah. So when Summit was running things, obviously the Gino. long Gino thing. Have some losses here, but Gino. Now you got Stanley.
Yeah. She's a killer.
Baylor, Alabama?
I'll go Bama.
UConn's beating them. UConn's beating Bama. Ohio State here. Tennessee's going here. Virginia Tech's going here. Virginia Tech, Tennessee.
Virginia Tech, Tennessee. I'll go with VT.
And for people who don't know, me and Junior do. Oh, yeah. Aaliyah Byron. There have been. South Carolina has played the number 2 team, which, where the hell are they? Speaking of them.
Did we even go through them yet?
No, they're over here when they were number 2. They played LSU, who has another phenomenal player. She's a double-double machine.
Reese. Yeah, Reese. She's tough.
They've played UConn. They have beaten top 2-3 teams by 30+. They are not to be played with. They're trying to repeat. Like, and the mindset those players have when the SEC championship game was over and they won. They had what we talk about, what me and Junior talk about. All right, now the real season begins. And I'm like, oh, you got ladies talking like that, saying now the real season begins?
Yep.
No.
Yep, you're right.
Here's the problem with Ohio State. Because I've watched a whole bunch of games. They're playing UConn in the Sweet 16. I've watched a whole bunch of their games.
Bro, I don't know why you're even talking about that. UConn.
Hold on. They are very... The end of the year, they've been a little inconsistent. Their team, they're almost like if they have had horrible 3-point shooting games against the best teams. Which, yep. Well, Byron, you said let me put your money on South Carolina. Remember that thing I shared? South Carolina is the first team in NCAA tournament history that they are negative odds to win. Negative. That means they're expecting them to win, and you won't get that much money back. They're like -2 something. It's unheard of. But Ohio State, they just don't make their threes against the best people they play. I don't know why. Yeah. So I would have UConn beating them as well. If they make their threes, they can do things, but they won't beat them. And then UConn's going to beat Virginia Tech.
Yep.
And then I like this side. Indiana.
I use that, right?
Yeah. Indiana, too. They were number 2. Like, they've only lost, 3 games all year. They lost on one buzzer beater to Caitlin. Because last time, they put Iowa in a blender. They beat them by almost 40.
They did. Yep.
So, Oklahoma State, Miami.
I'll go Oklahoma.
Wazoo beats them. Nova beats them. Michigan, UNLV.
I'll go with Michigan.
Then LSU beats them.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Princeton, North Carolina State.
NC State has some dogs. I've seen them play.
I like NC State. And Utah here. Well, LSU's beating Michigan. North Carolina State, Utah.
Yeah.
Indiana's beating Oklahoma State. Indiana should be hungry because they've lost on some bullshit the past couple games. Wazoo, Nova.
That you have to pick that one. I don't know.
We got. I mean, look. Do we have any? We don't have any 5. Yeah, no. We have a 5 there. We got Louisville. We got a 3. We got a 2. Let's go to 5. Let's go Wazoo.
Okay.
And then Indiana here. LSU here. Yep. LSU versus Indiana. Woo!
I think Indiana's gonna beat them.
That is going to be a hard one.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
So who gets the right to lose to South Carolina? Indiana or UConn?
UConn.
So they get a rematch?
Yes.
What do you think the final score is going to be?
This one's going to be you. You can pick this one.
I think 77-65.
Okay. Let's do it.
And then you forget
Let's do it.
I forget South Carolina. They got that 6'7" woman too. Like,
Yep.
nah, it's
Yeah.
curtains. They have to play so bad for them to lose. So bad.
Yeah. Literally.
All right, man. We got picks in for the women's. We got picks in for the men's.
Yep.
Follow this. This is obviously going to be up on YouTube as it's live right now. Thanks for people popping in, being talkative in the chat. We appreciate it. I still haven't done my serious bracket yet. Junior hasn't done his serious bracket yet. So definitely got to hit those in before our stuff starts tomorrow. Remember, March. It starts tomorrow at 12. So I'm going to start. I'm doing my stuff. I'm going to be putting everything in draft tonight. I am going to look at these brackets that we did because I do think from a bracket perspective, these things are solid, both of them. I don't think you would be wrong if you picked Houston to win. Me personally, I think there's only 8 teams who can win the title if they play their best. I think Houston is one. I think Kansas is one. I think UCLA. I think Bama. I think Duke. I think Marquette, Texas. I think those are some of the Baylor. I think those teams can win the title from my watching of this year. But now, we all know, March Madness, Caitlin Clark has won you a lot of money. Yeah, she's phenomenal. She is. But if you've not watched South Carolina, it's curtains.
It's a different ballgame.
But we know March Madness, there's going to be a player on one of these teams that makes their school famous and makes them a lot of money. A couple years ago, there was this kid, 2011, who made a run all the way to the Elite 8 and lost by 3 to the eventual champs Kansas. That kid's name was Steph Curry. No one was talking about Davison and Steph Curry till that run. Obviously, you've seen what he's done in the NBA.
Yeah.
Kemba Walker, I think in my lifetime, had the greatest March Madness run, the whole stretch in my entire life. That team should not have won the ACC. They should not have won the Big East. Hell no. Pittsburgh was remember when Pittsburgh used to be at the pinnacle of this stuff?
Dwan Blair.
They should not have won, but they played the whole Big East tournament, 5 games, 5 nights, to then go to the NCAA tournament and win it all. Obviously, got Kemba in the NBA, a whole bunch of money, all of that stuff. Like, you see players, just recently, there's a young man from named John Morant. Obviously, he's having some stuff right now, but no one knew who he was until the NCAA tournament when he had that 30-point triple-double. Number 2 pick. You obviously seeing what he's doing. Lehigh. I mean, you got people, CJ McCollum. Weber State. Dollar Dame. Dame Lillard.
Dame Dollar.
Like, you have so many players. There's going to be someone here who's just going to catch everyone's hearts. And you're going to be like, oh, I've never seen this person play before. I've never seen this person play. And then they just start going crazy.
Absolutely. I can't wait.
So someone's going to be a household name.
It starts tomorrow.
Someone's bracket. It might be me. It might be Junior. It might be someone. It's going to be someone on this planet. It's going to be millions of people. They're going to lose because someone hits a buzzer beater. Yeah. And that is the most painful way to lose your bracket. It's the greatest way to win, but painful way to lose.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't... Because there is a lot of NBA prospects in this thing. Like, if a star player gets hot for 5 games, it's over.
You're right.
It's over. Look at, like, Dante DiVincenzo. Like, you see him in the NBA.
Yeah. Villanova.
Byron said whoever becomes hot, he hopes to get drafted to the Thunder. I mean,
okay, anyway.
there's some players you can't go. I mean, you guys got Chet.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong. Like, I could see. I'm gonna just tell everyone, and I'm not even being like hating on them because obviously I live in the area. I watch all the damn games. Don't pick a Big Ten team to win. They haven't won a game. They haven't won the national thing since 2000. They have underperformed. Besides like a Michigan State, there's no Big Ten. No one in the Big Ten. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. before Duke got hot, when I was recording with Junior weeks ago,
Yes.
I said no one could win the ACC. I mean, no one in the ACC could win the tournament because I think that division's been ass. Duke has changed my mind because of how they've played recently. They can win, but does it fizzle out? Does it fizzle out? The Big 12 has a whole bunch of people who can win. Houston can win. Pac-12 has UCLA, and there might be someone we don't know. It might be. We don't know.
That's the fun of it.
That is the fun of it. I mean, I'm going to be locked in. My phone, I'm going to be watching all the games. Once it's 12, once I'm allowed to see everyone's brackets, that's when I start fully strategizing in my head.
Yeah.
But
can't wait. I cannot wait.
Appreciate y'all talking, tuning in, all of that, man. L7C, make sure you check out Junior's previous episode. We may be back next month, about maybe around the Final Four, because we're gonna come back and see how close we were with this one. But the L7C is going with Houston. So with that